Hey everyone, this is my Patreon proud reaction to the 11th episode of Steins Gate. And Suzuha. Last episode we were trying to help her with her father issue, not quite sure how much of what she says to believe, but supposedly she's looking for her father, and that kind of got her to become a member of the group. And, you know, we had talks of using her as a guinea pig for this, even though I think we should stop with the DMLs for now, but we haven't stopped. I don't know if or when we're ever going to stop with the DMLs, but, you know, so far we're continuing to use them. This episode we used it to kind of fix a mistake that Kyoma did, which was not following Suzuha, which she should have because she's not trustworthy. We should always follow her, but you know, he had to send a message to basically say, ignore our assistant, Kurisu, ignore what she says, go follow her. But I don't think he has memories of actually following her and stuff like that. He just has to kind of go by with what she said, and the video evidence we have of her coming to our little Last Supper party, we have that, of course. But, yeah, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do next, really. I mean, the date that we're starting off with, I think is the same day as when he sent, you know, sent the D-mail. Or at least talk to Suzuha about it. So, yeah, not quite sure where we're gonna go from here. So let's just see. And 3, 2, 1, play. Right, go keep him busy. We don't want to get yelled at again. You do that. Okay. I mean, that do it. Okie dokie. Man, the things I would do to that, I mean, what? Okay, gotta get rid of any extra weight. This is not like any seduction I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't think this is working very well. What was even the logic of this plan? I don't really understand, but... So, what exactly are we doing? I feel like I missed something. Okay. Want to try that again? I don't quite get what's happening right now. Did we send a DML? Because I don't think we talked about that. Well, there's failures all around in that scene. And opening. Yeah, I mean, last episode we ended off with just talking to Suzuha, right? I'm not quite sure I went from that to immediately another DML experiment. I feel a little bit lost. I feel like I need to be caught up to what's happening. I don't think I skipped an episode. Yeah, this should be episode 11. To the gate. I don't think I've ever seen in my life seen an opening that pushed the clock imagery so hard. Well, just time imagery in general. That's pretty much the entire opening. Although we do have some flower shots, which I don't quite get. How that relates to time. Dogma in Event Horizon. Okay. Oh, was that what we were implying before? If you say so. You're a lot smarter than I am. Yeah, he was kind of not happy about any of that. It was our fault for trusting Suzuha, which should be a big theme of the show. So what's next step? Don't say that. We gotta experiment and try. We just gotta work out the math and stuff. You rar them. Like, you split it into a million individual rar parts, then extract it all when you get to the other side. Send it piece by piece, you know? What I'm saying makes sense, right? Japanese, please. I bet you did. You're hurting her head. Yeah, but sending memories, we can do that. And that's what we have been doing, basically, with the emails. Yeah, you just shove memories from you into a different you. So you do travel in a sense. Final stage, we're only on episode 11. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Of course. But so no, nothing me. That was a little bit concerning. Okay, I guess we'll let it go for now. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, you basically, you know, zipping, raring your memories and sending it across the internet to a different server, a different brain. That also happened last episode. We can try it. It's really not that different than the regular demo thing we've been doing, as far as I can tell. It's a good question. Guess it just be a slightly emptier body. One of them. Yeah, you remember something that sort of never happened? I feel like this is definitely some foreshadowing. Okay. I don't like the way this shot's framed. What's gonna happen? I have expected her to get hit by a car there. It's the way, the atmosphere of that scene. Luckily she didn't. Yeah. Yeah, let's not talk about this in the middle of the street. I mean, that's debatable. Is she a lab member? Is she not? I can't keep track of timeline stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's what it sounds like. They're much lighter than a whole body, so they don't become jelly. Hopefully. Yeah, I still don't get why they did that with Mayuri running off. Because it really made me think something bad was going to happen. It's not just my imagination, right? That was a deliberate feeling they tried to give me. Suzuha. Man, that belly. I'm not gonna complain. Yeah, I bet she has plenty back home. Yeah, he got a little bit violent. She's a human. She's a good girl, though. Man, Suzuha, I try to dislike you. You're making it hard with that outfit. I kind of don't want you to be out of our sight, Mayuri. I'm very paranoid now. Like, more so than I was before. Those are some pretty harsh accusations you're throwing around here. Especially coming from you, I don't believe that. I think you're just trying to sow discord in our group. Yeah, I'm not gonna believe that. No way. Not even for a second will I believe that. Okay, now we're just deliberately messing with her. She's been so subtle about this. There's no way she could be a certain spy. She's too cute. I understood it too, don't worry. I used to go to 4chan, which is, based off of the ad channel they're talking about here. Half obvious. Rude. You like a dark place? Let it go. How could he not like you? You're amazing. Did he not love it as much? It's always a sad day. I guess I could get to someone. Damn. Yeah, what can you really say to that? Apparently that's what you say to that. I mean, he's not best at dealing with people at the best of times. And you have a very, very specific kind of family circumstance. Why not? You're the assistant, so we can assist you. You do not have those, man. Neither do I, but you definitely don't. Sometimes. Occasionally. That's a line. No arguments for me. Oh no, Mayuri. Please stay safe, Mayuri. He's busy with another girl. You really don't sound okay, Mayuri. I'm getting progressively more worried. I would try some maki pudding. Yeah, you're Christina. Yeah, lessons learned here. Okay, she made it back alive. That's good. That's already more than I expected. Is anybody gonna help this girl? Oh, sleepover set. That sounds like a lot of fun. She better. No sleepovers complete without Christina. I mean, the place might be dangerous for pudding, but you should be fine. The house of my soul. Don't ask me. Two puddings. You know, I've been talking a little bit about worrying about Mayuri, you know, something bad happening to her as a consequence for time travel. One thing I actually didn't think about until this episode was something bad could happen to her just from normal life, you know, getting hit by a car, for instance, and maybe he used time travel to try to fix it. That makes more sense. It didn't become clear to me until this episode, but now I'm almost positive that's where this is gonna go. Somebody might actually, whoever sent those messages might actually be responsible for what I'm talking about too. Does that sound like a threat? That's definitely a threat. Man. Hopefully we don't go home and there's a bloodbath there. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be hit by a car, it could be anything. Hurry up, man. I don't know how long I could be... I'm too worried to even appreciate that cool animation thing they did. Is anybody here? Somebody please say something. Okay, somebody's in the shower. That's good. We probably shouldn't open it though. And oh, they're together in the shower. I didn't expect that. Yeah, you shouldn't walk in on the Yuri field like that. We worried about you. I have reasons. You know, I was sitting here wondering which one of the two would be in the shower, and then they were both in there. More than I could have possibly asked for. Oh. That is something. Yeah, that's kind of concerning. I mean, Surin's almost definitely behind the scary messages to Kyoma. Like, there's nobody else it could be. So... yeah, I'm not sure what we should do now. Would they leave us alone if we stopped right now? I mean, probably not if the problem is I'm knowing too much. So, yeah, I don't know what we should do then. But yeah, now it's time for Kyoma to worry. I know I've jumped the gun on that a few times in the show, but now I think it's definitely time for Kyoma to go full panic mode. This is a good time for it. Although I'm not sure what the point of sending him intimidating messages are. Because if they're gonna kill them for knowing too much, they'll do that either way. Scaring them wouldn't accomplish anything, would it? So I don't quite get that. But man, this was a stressful episode. I really did not expect Mayuri to be alive by the end of it. But I do think it's just a matter of time now. This episode, if my concern was at like a 6 before, it's at like a 9 now. This episode was dropping death flags for Mayuri left and right. Yeah, this does feel like kind of a turning point in the show. Okay. Okay. That was the 11th episode of Steins Gate. And apparently we figured out about the lifter was the TV. I guess that's what they said. You know, I can't quite follow a lot of the science stuff, but I think that's kind of what the point they were trying to make. And we discussed a potential time travel thing we could do, like time leap. I think that is what they actually called it in the episode. But like one of the biggest problems that they've had in the show so far has been the jelly issue, right? We can't send physical things through time because there's just too much information. It gets broken down into the jelly. And up until this point, we've dealt with that with the D-mail, right? Because we could send the text messages, and that would cause something to take a different action, which would diverge the timelines. You know, that's pretty straightforward. But now we're talking about something slightly different. Like, not super different as far as end result goes. We're talking about, like, sending memories, because that's probably a lot easier to do. And then they can go from one vessel in one timeline to the same type of vessel in a different timeline. And that would, for all intents and purposes, be the same as, like, physical time travel, right? Because you're moving. Because your body's just a big hunk of flesh, right? Like, it doesn't really need to move with you if the body is essentially the same on two different timelines. If you think about it, you really don't need to move that at all. So the only real limitation with this, I guess, would be you couldn't go further back in time than before you were born, or you couldn't go like ahead in time to a point where you're already dead. But that would probably be the only real limitation of this, which is, would that be less or more limited than the text thing in that regard? Not quite sure. I had to think about that. But the more I think about it, the more different, I guess, this really is than the D-mail, because because of the D-mail, right, you split off the branches, and you have memories of well, at least in Kyoma's case, he has the memories of the things that he did to get to that point, but he doesn't have, like, the memories from the branch off. It's really hard to phrase this stuff, but the point is, I do think this is a better solution than the D-mail thing. Gives you a bit more control. I don't know. I really have to digest this whole time travel concept, because I'm getting more and more confused in my head as I think about it. So I think we should just move forward. I did forget to mention the very beginning scene where you had Suzuha trying to distract Mr. Braun, and she, you know, we were talking about her seducing him, which that's not quite what that was. So I actually looked at the Japanese term to see if there's anything, you know, anything lost in translation. The term that they clearly said was irojika, which is defined as use of seduction techniques to attain one's ends, usually of women. You know, so yeah, it seems to be pretty much what I thought it was, you know, like straight up seduce is the fine translation for that. But I don't think that's what that was, though. I don't know what you'd call it exactly. She just kind of, like, threw her jacket at his head or whatever. Like, I'm gonna watch that again. What exactly happened? Like, she ran, you know, like, very much like if you're in a race, you know, that kind of crouching thing. But yeah, she just grabs her jacket, jumps, throws it over his face. I don't quite get all that seduction at all. Like, I mean, if she was doing that crouching thing, like right in front of him, you know, facing that booty towards him, I could maybe see how that could count. I mean, it had an effect on me. But actually throwing the jacket, I don't quite get how that counts as seduction. I don't think Suzuha knows how to seduce anyone. I think that's the biggest takeaway from that scene. Although just wearing that outfit in general, it gets pretty close. So, yeah, this scene here I definitely want to talk about, right? You know, Moeka shows up while Kyoma and Mayuri were walking down the street, and she's excited that Moeka shows up, and then it started doing all this odd kind of animation stuff, a bit of slow motion-ish, like, I don't know how to describe it really, but if you've ever seen an anime before where a character runs out into the street and gets hit by a car, very reminiscent of what they did here. That is all I could think about during this scene. I thought for sure she's gonna get hit by a car, like in between running from Kyoma to getting to Moeka, one would just come out of nowhere and just isekai her. But that didn't happen, which begs the question, why do they do that weird animation stuff? But the more I think about it, I think I'm starting to get it. You know, now that I have the context of the whole episode to go by, I think there might be some kind of lingering memories in Kyoma's head due to time travel shenanigans, and part of him somewhere has seen Mayuri presumably get hit by a car, and I think some of that lingering memory-ness is kind of coming into here. So when she runs out like that towards someone, maybe that kind of connected some dots into his head. It's probably a bit of a deja vu feeling. He doesn't quite understand himself, but somewhere some Kyoma has seen something similar to this that resulted in Mayuri getting hit by a vehicle. Probably a CERN driving it, I would assume. And I think that's what happened here. After putting things together as best I could in my head, I think that was the implication here. I guess we'll figure out eventually if that's the case. Otherwise, that makes no sense to me. Like, not even a little bit. Unless the show just want to scare us to be a jerk. That's the only other option, really. But damn, Suzuha in that outfit, just not fair. That poison, just put that poison away. So, and then we had this fun little scene here when Kurisu is on the computer and Kyoma kind of baits her. You know, I don't quite get the original Japanese line there, but obviously the lurk more line that was in the subs that I'm using, very reminiscent of 4chan lingo. Like I said in the reaction, you know, mostly when I was younger, I used to freaking 4chan a lot. It was like my first real introduction to an anime forum. So, of course, the subs are very much trying to take that sort of at-channel Japanese memes and vernacular and stuff, and is trying to transition it into the 4chan stuff because that's a bit more relatable to a more Western audience, although not every Westerner goes to 4chan, but that's fine. It's probably for the best, really. But yeah, lurk more basically just means that, you know, don't ask stupid questions that demonstrate that you're new here, you know, because if you're new to a community, you should actually just lurk, which means just hang around without saying anything. You just kind of take in that information, you know, kind of get a feel for what the cultural norms and stuff like that is, and then you start posting once you have a feel for that. But a lot of people just wouldn't do that, and when it becomes clear that they didn't do that, you would usually give that as a response. So, you know, for anyone that's not aware of what that means, that's that. And also they brought up Saga later on, which is basically something you do with a post if you don't want to bump it back to the front page when you post. Like when you want to post into a thread and you don't want it to, like you don't want to help the thread, quote unquote help, by bumping it back to the front page, you could Saga it and then it will not do that, you know. It used to be where your name would be like blue whenever you do that, so it would be clear to everyone that you would do that. But I think 4chan stopped that at some point because people would always take it as, you know, like an angry, hateful thing, like you're trying to hurt the thread by using Saga. Even there is kind of a valid use for it if you don't want to like bump a thread more than you need to, because a thread always has a bump limit, and once you reach that, you can't bump it anymore and it will just die off. So, and it's obviously very off-topic stuff, but you know, why not? Why not get into it? The point is, she's been trying to keep the fact that she posts on an ad channel a secret, but she's done a very poor job at it, and we've kind of poked at her a little bit here and there, and that kind of came to a head in this scene where she couldn't really hide it anymore. So there you go. And speaking of Christina, we actually really got into her backstory this episode. She, yeah, a lot of father drama, a lot of very specific problems that would only ever be possible for a family with a genius daughter. Like, this is not a problem that a lot of people can relate to. It's not, so I really don't blame Kyoma for not being able to say too much to help with this. But, you know, he does his best. I think he kind of cheered her up by the end of it. But, yeah, it was a nice scene, a very needed scene. And then he eats her pudding because it didn't say Christina on it. Hopefully she learned a lesson from that. And Mayuri eventually came back home with the with the groceries. There was at least 3, maybe 4 points in this episode where I just thought Mayuri was gonna die. You know, especially when Kyoma started running back home, when we had this very different sort of animation style. I don't know how you would describe it at all, but it was really cool looking. I just couldn't appreciate it because I was too worried. But she made it back home with the groceries just fine, and she wasn't dead when we got back there after that very concerning text message, which I'm almost positive is from CERN. Because we were setting up this whole sleepover thing, which is pretty cool. And, you know, what goes well with sleepovers, that would be, like, shower scenes together. Like, I'm trying to find where that was. I think it was right about here. He's in the dark room looking very concerned. He just hears a shower going. So, of course, usually you wouldn't open the shower when somebody's using it, but this was a bit of an emergency because he thought they might all be dead, so I think we could forgive him for that. I mean, Kurisu might not. But yeah, we opened that, and we just see Kurisu and Mayuri together, you know? It kind of seems like she was washing her back, too. Like, Kurisu's hands, like, on her back with the soap, and she's got her water, so they were in that bathroom together, and I think they were washing each other. Like, that's quite clearly what happened. I mean, we've made a little bit of comments about that Yuri field and all that, but I think this is pretty clear. Just how Kurisu swings, which is of course fine. But yeah, she was a little bit angry about that. And then we talked about a bit of a connection that apparently CERN has with their lab. Now, if I didn't misinterpret this scene, I think it's supposed to imply that, yeah, CERN's been able to spy on us for quite a while, and they know pretty much probably everything that we've been doing so far, which would make sense with the very intimidating messages that Guillaume's been getting. But, yeah, I don't know where we go from here, because if CERN knows what we're doing and they're not a big fan of it, you know, this kind of conspiracy stuff, they'll go pretty far to keep it under lock and key. So, yeah, what exactly will their move be? I talked a lot about Mujirou potentially getting hit by a vehicle, but, I mean, it's just really hard to imagine CERN would use that method to take out people, really. So, I'm not quite sure how that fits into anything. I mean, guess it would be the easiest way to make it look like an accident, so I guess it would kind of make sense. It would just be a hard thing to pull off very well. So I don't know, but this is the point in the story when Kyuuma's definitely panicking. Like, that final shot of him, there's a lot of sweat there. That was a look of a man that's starting to regret some of his life choices, for sure. Man, I'm just so worried now. It made it very clear this episode that Mujirou is gonna die. I was already concerned about that. This episode, without a shadow of a doubt, made it very clear that's going to happen. I just don't know when. Could be next episode, could be 5 episodes from now. But what's definitely clear is that after it happens, Kyuuma's gonna try to save her with the time travel stuff. It's probably not gonna work. It never works. So, I don't know. This could have a very depressing end of the show, honestly. I don't know how we could have a happy ending with the way things are kind of building up here. So, I don't know. I guess all I can hope for is that I'm mentally prepared enough for whenever they decide to do that to Mujirou. I don't think I'll ever be truly ready for it. Really. I really don't have much left to say on the episode. I don't want them to hurt her, but I know they're going to, so can I just, like, stop watching the show? If I don't keep watching the show, they can't hurt her, right? That's how it works? Yeah, I don't know. Just, hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully he can somehow save her, but, you know, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it can happen, honestly. Like, I don't know. I really have nothing left to say. I don't know why I'm keeping this going. I just hoping something will come to me. I could think of a happy ending for this show, but doesn't look like it's gonna happen. We've made enemies of a very big, powerful organization that has a lot of control in the future, and in that future they have time travel. They have a potential agent in Suzuha here who claims Kurisu's a CERN agent, which I'm not gonna believe for a friggin' second. Not for a second. So hopefully Dr. Pepper can see us through this. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Cnouki and Ryan for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.